So scientific training and clipboard trainers. I heard a funny term one time when I was interviewing a trainer from a certain local fitness organization, and apparently there's an inside joke with them regarding clipboard trainers, and I thought it was hilarious because we laugh at those trainers likewise about their approach to fitness and exercise, and they basically shoot from the hip and off the cuff. We'll just throw exercises at the person that are sort of randomized in whatever seems to fit the job that day. To me, any kind of random approach to anything is going to lead to random results, and that is bush league stuff. It is not professional. You have no regard to cause and effect. Now we know, proper training and science, and proper certifications and things of that nature. Once you get through that rigorous training, you understand that there is cause and effect with exercise, and there's a physiological change based on whatever stress you give it. You're going to receive a certain recovery from that. So if you have a goal in mind, you need that program with a purpose and train with a specific purpose in mind. It's not just simple movement and whatever seems to fit that day. You're then at the mercy of that trainer's wittiness, their mental clarity that day, how they're feeling that day, how focused they are, whatever their mood is, and that's complete bullshit. I mean, you should not ever be a victim of that. It should be completely tailored and structured to what your needs are, your goals are, your abilities are, and this is only done by the scientific method, and that is taking notes, because we've got certain formulas in training programs, and we have certain protocols in learning progressions and teaching progressions of exercises that develop from, say, white belt to black belt, or most beginner to advanced, or say they progress from kindergarten to, say, college level sorts of training. We can go on and on forever, but that's because we have a scientific method and progression scheme to do that. Now, each and every one of these phases and programs people go through, each and every client is going to respond to differently. So how do we know what's appropriate for one person, or when are they ready for the next progression? It's because we have scientific data to compare with. I know that if someone walks in the door and they go through our phase 1 training and they can only get through 2 sets of each exercise over 8 exercises, 16 sets, I know immediately that's poor work density, and they got to work on their work density first, and that's our first goal before they're ready for phase 2 sorts of training capacity. But on top of that, we need to build progressive resistance and work on some strength training parameters, and that's all mathematical, and I can track your performance on day 1 to performance on day 30 and see a measurable result in your ability to exercise and know when those changes are necessary. So when you look at those two different worlds of, say, shoot from the hip type trainer to, say, scientific, you could almost say a robot trainer, there's an extreme difference in polarity there. But what's important is the trainer that's the master of both qualities. Now, you can only shoot from the hip effectively and roll sort of intuitively with, say, the situation, is if you match science with that ability to think on your feet and adjust things. So that's really when you're going to have the best programming result for a trainer or for a client. But as long as you take notes on what changes you may have had and you realize, hey, so-and-so did XYZ and XYZ worked for so-and-so, or it didn't work, you now have a scientific result. You know cause and effect for them, and you can adjust and prepare a better workout for them next time. So we call it prepping and note-taking, and so every time we take notes on a workout, we prep that workout for our next session, and we prep a better workout for that client every single time. So we know what they're capable of doing, we know what we should do, what we can't do with that client, and every time they come in, we're making a better and better program for them that fits to them as tightly as possible. It's the most appropriate training money can buy for that client, but that only takes with proper notes, proper question and answering, and focus and attention to detail. Doesn't happen with shoot from the hip trainer across the street. So really take that with extreme importance in terms of what that's going to get for you as a trainer for your client, but also as a client and what that means. If you're someone who trains on your own and you don't take notes, I highly urge you to start that process in days where you're not feeling good or you're not feeling up to snuff and you're not sure how it's going to go. You can refer to past notes and that will help you get through that process and make the best scientific decision. And perhaps you make the wrong decision based on your notes, but next time you have more repeatable data. One thing I constantly hear about people is, I tried XYZ but it didn't work, or XYZ gave me this result and that's not what I was after, or let's say I got a certain body fat percentage and it wasn't what I wanted, or blood pressure result and it wasn't good. You got to realize that one test is sort of insignificant. It's only your first indicator. You have to do a test twice to really understand that it is a valid, reliable test. So was there a testing error? Was it a bad day? Well, what other confounding variable might be involved in that test that makes it not accurate? So, sure, if something happens twice, you can start to consider that is the true cause of that intervention. So maybe next time try something else. Take your notes. Continue to learn cause and effect. There's so many variables, and there's nothing more annoying than when someone changes so many variables at once, and they attribute one cause to one effect, but they really have no business doing that when they really have changed so many variables. They have no idea what's going on. So respect the note-taking process and the scientific method within your training.